I won a WWE Championship as Stone Cold Steve Austin in every WWE game, and this is my story on what happened. The first game on the list is, of course, the first Yuke's THQ game, Smackdown 1. We also decided to add this Wheel of Fate to make things a bit more interesting, whether good or bad. And it lands on no grapples, meaning I cannot grapple at all. And we try to figure out who the champion is in this game, and the WWE champion at this time is, of course, Triple H. Now, not being able to grab Triple H did make this a bit harder, and Triple H was a complete and utter jerk to fight. Like, just a complete nuisance. Of course, because this is an old wrestling game in 1999, weapons are fair game no matter what. A pedigree by Triple H spooked me, but I somehow kicked out at 1 with the old button mashing technique. Speaking of finishers, hitting 1 is kind of a pain due to the precision you need to get a stun and then land the move. With Triple H being a little bitch, this was annoying, but after much perseverance and many attempts, we finally stunned Triple H and then hit the stunner to pin him for a 3 count to gather our first title and win. Fuck you, Hunter. The second game is Smackdown 2 Know Your Role. This is one of my personal favorites because it's the first one I ever played. Despite the game's awful, terrible loading times, it's still a pretty fun game. The wheel spin gives us a time limit of 15 minutes. The match is a bit interesting. It's a double special guest referee match with good old Vince McMahon in my corner as I fight against WWE Champion The Rock with Stephanie McMahon. Damn, he shot on his booking and outtook his wife. Funny thing, while both of us went to war, the referees fought as well, trying to stop counts from happening. 3 minutes into the match, I hit a stunner on Rock, and a Vince fast count dodges the bitch slap, and I win the WWE title just like that. Who'd have thought Vince and Austin were to line like this? I never thought this would happen. Alright, we're moving on to Smackdown Just Bring It. This was the only game where Austin was a heel, and also he was WWE Champion at the time, so we need to find a replacement, as I can't fight myself. We fight second place and Intercontinental Champion Chris Jericho. Also, we're not allowed to do any strikes whatsoever. Ugh. With this being on Legend difficulty, not striking proves to be an issue, just like the no grapple thing. But after a ref bump, Triple H of the two-man power trick comes to help me out, and we do a double team on Jericho. But he leaves after a bit and just sits on the outside till I get hit with a lion salt and lose. After this loss, I decide to go after the hardcore champion, Raven, and we get hit with a gimmick match, and it's a Hell in a Cell match, and these matches are super basic. In order to break out, you have to dive through the cell, and there are invisible walls on the top, so we fight on the top for a good few minutes till I realize pins only count in the ring, so I had to get him back in. A Stone Cold Stunner is not enough, but a simple gut-wrench suplex gets me the win, and we get to move on to better games. The next game is, of course, Smackdown Shut Your Mouth, another one of my favorite games ever. And we are given the challenge of no strikes, which isn't great, but it gets worse as we fight the WWE Champion, Undertaker. Where despite having no overalls in this game, Undertaker beats my ass. I get clobbered by the Undertaker. I try to steal his bike, just for the, hell of it, but I didn't know how, so I gave up, and I gave Taker a piece of my mind before he beat me in less than 5 minutes. So, second attempt, our challenge is that of a time limit. So we go after the hardcore champion Bradshaw, because that worked last time. And we got 10 minutes to win. What's interesting is that Bradshaw's moveset is a bit different. And this causes both problems and opportunities. In the end, with both of us hitting finishers, I stump a mud hole into Bradshaw and one clothesline does it for me. Once again, I beat the hardcore champion to move on. Alright, move on to Smackdown Here Comes the Pain. And since we're going after WWE champions, we go straight into the top in this game. Brock Lesnar. If you don't know about this game, there are two insanely overpowered characters. Goldberg and Lesnar. And this was a struggle. This was on Legend as well, so Brock was completely insane, countering everything, and also does so much damage that and is able to get the F5 a minute 30 in the match. Unfortunately, I get a tummy ache, and we go counter for counter until I finally hit the stunner, but it's not enough to beat Lesnar. Both of us have one more counter off between each other. Who gets this wins the match. Alright, it's time to pick this guy up. Stunner time. Oh, uh-oh. Blocked. Blocked that. Oh, he blocked my stunner. Oh, no. Well, that's pretty much it. F5. Yikes. It was a good run. And Brock Lesnar picks up the win here. But despite the loss, I feel more motivated to beat him. So I run it back one more time and hope to pull it off. Second match, turns out we're supposed to fight the highest overall. And guess who that is? It's Brock. Again. And just like the last match, Brock Lesnar has the same overall and is still incredibly overpowered. But the difference is that I knew this coming in, and I was able to counteract most of his offense and dominate Brock Lesnar in this match. Just gave him a good old stone cold ass whipping. One stone cold stunner and it's over. I beat Lesnar pretty decisively and have a beer celebration. What a way to end it. And now we move on to the first ever Smackdown versus Raw. Wait, what do you mean? He's not in the game? Regardless, he's not in Smackdown vs. Raw, so we need to pivot. And we pivot towards Day of Reckoning 2 on the GameCube. And before we start this, we first need to unlock Stone Cold. And we have to win 5 matches to do so. So, to do this in the quickest time, we pick the highest overalls like Triple H and Kurt Angle, and beat up the lowest overall characters, which are the Divas. That seems pretty problematic, but it worked, and we unlocked Stone Cold in less than 10 minutes. Not bad, other than the women beating part. Wait, what? Anyways, our challenge is a gimmick match, and we take on the WWE Champion John Cena in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And I thought Here Comes the Pain was bad. This game is much more difficult. I hit the stunner, but I forgot how to pin, and I proceed to beat him up until Cena grabs some objects and pummeled me. Despite me having 3 finishes, I end up getting double FU'd by Cena and lose. Second shot, and we're given probably the worst challenge in the game. No finishers. In a game where you build up momentum so damn quickly. And we're fighting World Heavyweight Champion Batista. How'd it go? Well, I got beat in a minute. No finishers at all for me. You know what? I'm a gamer, alright? Not a pro gamer. Don't criticize me for my... Third attempt, we spin the Wheel of Fate, and it lands on a bonus game. What game is that? Well, you have to find out later. As for the match, old Stone Cold has decided to step down from the big boys and is going after the mid-carders. In this match, it's Carlito, and despite putting up a fight and hitting me with multiple overdrives like a bitch, I get a lucky break and I hit the stunner, and this mofo encounters a second one. But then I hit 2 more stunners in a row and we pin him. We freaking won. Although it is kind of hollow since I couldn't beat the top guys, but you know what? A win's a win. Game 7, the bonus game, is WrestleMania 19 on the GameCube. Our first bonus game. And a game that's mainly known for unaliving and beating up minimum wage workers. Great. But under the hood, it's a good wrestling game. And our opponent, as Stone Cold, is none other than the Game, the cerebral assassin, the ruiner of Raw in 2003, Triple H. And we squash him in 3 minutes with 1 stunner. Bye, Hunter. Back of the line. Loser. The next game, and we're back to the mainline series with Smackdown vs. Raw 2006. So, Austin is back. Not to mention, he's also fully voiced in the season mode that you can play as. I'm not kidding. Look at this.
JBL, what the hell are you doing?
Anyways, our Wheel of Fate gives us the blessing of lowering our difficulty by 1 too hard. Nice. And my opponent is none other than Batista. Again, my revenge. And somehow, I was awarded infinite finishers due to the emulator and save file. And Batista, of course, countered them. But I finally hit the stunner, 1, 2, 3, and I'm world champion. It's not cheating, it's all just luck. Alright, we're now at Smackdown vs. Raw 2007, and fate deals us a not great fortune, as we are forced to not be able to grapple. And this game's first opponent is WWE Champion Edge. Despite Stone Cold being a prolific striker, okay, that's like what he majorly does for the most part, not being able to grapple Edge proved to be too much for me, and 1 spear is all it took. Damn, that kind of sucked. But we're back in the fold, and fortunately fate smiles upon me as I get to lower the difficulty by 1, as I end up fighting World Heavyweight Champion Booker T. Unfortunately for the King, he's no match for me, and I end up beating him with the stunner, and there we go. Once again, I lose to the WWE Champion and have to instead opt for 2nd place. But it's not about how you get there. It's about if you got there at all. And now we move on to Smackdown vs. Raw 2008, and the save file I have seems to have a bunch of weird unlockable characters, like hacked characters and all this. The only one that's missing really is Chris Benoit for, well, obvious reasons. But we only care about two people. Stone Cold, who's the $1 Million champion, and WWE champion Randy Orton. What, you thought Cena'd be here? Well, you're wrong, at least for now. Oh well, hopefully this match is a good... Wait, what? That's it? One Boston Crab and it's over in less than 3? Well, at least we don't have to play this shitty game anymore. Orton kind of sucks, doesn't he? Now it's time to move on to SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. Wait, what? Well, he's not in this game either? Shit. We need to pivot, and what better game to pivot to than No Mercy? Our will makes us not able to counter, which I guess isn't too bad since I don't even know how to do that in this game. And we fight the WWE champion in the game, Kurt Angle. Because I suck at these Aki games, I got my ass beat by Kurt Angle, and I didn't have a very good day. But a hero tried to save the day, Taz, and gives me a second win, and I hit a stunner. But of course, Kurt kicks out. I tried to use Taz as a way to help me with this match, but alas, Kurt is just too damn good, and I eat an angle slam, and it's over. But we can't stop until we win. Somehow, the wheel gives me something even worse in both theory and practice. No finishers. And if you saw how Day of Reckoning went, yeah. I have to fight Kurt Angle again, and my footage is very choppy. Things are looking pretty bleak, as Kurt is in control, but then another hero joins the battlefield. Big Rikishi is coming to save the day. The two of us team up to beat down Angle, and it looks like we're gonna win, but then the dastardly Triple H comes out, is here to stop me, but the match then devolved into a complete free-for-all between everybody. After Rikishi and Triple H leave the ring, Kurt is excited to end me, but I actually do a counter and win the match after a quick elbow. Glad that's over with. Another game I almost got locked into for a while. Alright, we're finally back at the mainline series for SVR 2010, and Stone Cold is in this game. Wait, what? What do you mean? He's in the game, right? Oh my god, he's DLC? Oh, those slimy... Wow, what a bunch of jerks, huh? Well, I guess we gotta do another pivot. We're pivoting to WWE Allstars, which is an arcade-esque game. Yeah. Our first opponent is, of course, John Cena, the WWE Champion. He finally comes around again, and we get to fight once again. How'd this go? Well, not well. Cena beat me pretty easily due to the fact that I couldn't strike him due to the wheel. So Cena wins again. So now we are forced into a gimmick match against the World Heavyweight Champion, Undertaker. I had a bit of an issue on trying to get the stunner, but I struggled a bit and Taker put up a fight. After a forward suplex, I finally able to hit the stunner after multiple failed attempts and KO the dead man. I win, I shit all over him, like literally. And honestly, this game is pretty fun. I kind of recommend it if you can get it still. And we're finally back into the mainline series, for real this time, like we actually are. It's Smackdown vs. Raw 2011, and fate is on my side, as the difficulty is set to easy. And we get to fight the WWE Champion, John Cena. And because of the wheel, we get to finally beat John Cena pretty easily and quickly. Hey, you know what? Don't criticize me. If you're mad, then criticize the wheel. But yeah, a flurry of punches, a stunner, and an elbow ends John Cena. We win, get revenge. Yay. Alright, we move on to WWE 12, and we spin the wheel, and fate isn't great, as we're tasked with no grappling. But just like earlier, Austin is mainly a striker in real life, but that doesn't translate well to a game where that doesn't matter. The opponent is WWE Champion, Alberto Del Rio. But yeah, the no grapple thing turns into a massive struggle. It's on Legend too, so Del Rio countered the majority of my offense. My first stunner wouldn't be successful as the rope break would break it up. And things got worse as Del Rio started to do submissions and the dog shit break and the terrible breaking point system really sucks. It's mash the buttons till you win or lose. Good fun. But fortunately, Del Rio's moveset mainly targets the body, so I'm able to get out of the armbar, his finisher. And finally, I counter him enough to do a Luthez and get the win. This was surprisingly more challenging than I thought, and it was really close, but I win the title and Del Rio can go kick rocks. And we go on to WWE 13, the first game to feature a showcase mode, and it's the Attitude Era mode. Well, old Stone Cold is ready to step up to the plate against the current holder of the WWE title, The Rock, Stone Cold's arch nemesis. The challenge that we got handed was a 10-minute time limit. And because it's The Rock, he's a complete OP jerk and is a freaking nuisance to fight. He countered everything, and the clock starts to really tick down. The pressure gets up to me. But this dickwad always kicked out at 1, just to rub it in my face more. Even after a SIG and a stunner, he still kicked out at 1. With less than a minute left, I go for something I don't like doing, a submission. And I'm mashing away on my controller as hard as possible. I'm so close with less than 40 seconds left, and then Dwayne pulls a nuh-uh and breaks it. At this point, with no finishers, the match was a lost cause, and after a few failed attempts, I ran out of time and it was a draw. But because I'm stubborn, we must move on, and we get a freebie, which means that there is no gimmick attached, and we're in a triple threat for the spinner title against Edge and Justin Gabriel. The match was pretty insane. It was a bloody Extreme Rules match, and it was difficult as everything kept getting broken up. I tossed Edge out of the ring and hit the stunner, and Edge almost steals the pin because of the animation I had, but I bulldog him down and win. Cope with that, Edge. And now we're at 2K14, the final THQ game. Yes, I know it's 2K, but it's still a THQ Ukes game. Don't argue. We get the wheel to give us no countering. And guess who old Stone Cold's fighting? Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And because this is The Rock, he won't take a loss for anyone, and he beats me again to become the WWE Champion. But I'm not going to give up, because I can't. After this loss, we get a blessing. We lower the difficulty to easy as I challenge for the Winged Eagle title against everyone's favorite wrestler, Hulk Hogan. And we beat the crap out of him for 5 minutes. 1 SIG and a stunner, and we win, unsurprisingly. We won the title, and we also killed Hulkamania. How do I feel? Well, I feel pretty good, because screw Hulk Hogan. Now that the 2K games are in full swing, we move on to 2K15 on last gen, because it's what I have. And besides, who plays 2K15 on PS4 anyways, right? We are given the fate of a bonus match, so even if we win, we have to play it again, win or lose. We challenge CM Punk for this version of the WWE title. Why, I don't know. I guess Dwayne took all the belts. Thanks, man. Punk does end up getting his finisher in, but it's not enough, and I come back with my SIG and 1 stunner to end Punk's time in 2K games for the next 10 years. And in the bonus match, it's a title for title match against the current holder of the WWE title, Cody Rhodes. And because Cody is still a mid-carder and soon-to-be jobber, we easily beat him and become the undisputed WWE champion in 2K15. And now we move on to the PS4 generation, and we go on to 2K16, where Stone Cold is both the cover star and the showcase. But none of that matters. We need to win the WWE title that's vacated, probably due to Rollins' injury, so someone needs to step up to take on the Rattlesnake. And it's Titus O'Neil, with Darren Young as a manager. And this match was tougher than I thought, as the game is much different than the 7th gen games. You got a stamina system, limited counters, and it's much slower. This was when 2K really focused on realism, and it shows at the expense of gameplay. But I am able to persevere with 2 stunners and I win. Alright, we move into WWE 2K17, which is one of the most disappointing games that made me stop pre-ordering them. 2K got me with the hype, and I won't be burned anymore. I spun the wheel and it gave me a lower difficulty to easy again, and we're fighting Roman Reigns. Sorry, the wrong one. The bad one. That one. And because of this, we put him down like a big dog in 3 minutes. Bye, Roman. We move on to W2K18, and oh, look at that. Once again, we get set to easy. Damn, must be really lucky, huh? By the way, this is not rigged. Just trust me. Trust me, bro. We're fighting the Icon Stain for the WWE title, and holy moly, that thing is disgusting. Like, what is that? Is this like the Switch version of the game? And this game is just butt-ass ugly. I know how these games play, so I know how to cheese opponents, take down, taunt, waste all their counters, and the strategy mainly works. I get the stunner, but Sting kicks out. He tries for a comeback, but I snuff it out, tell him he's crap, flip the bird, and another stunner gets me the win. And let's get out of this game, because this game's kind of ass. Alright, moving on to 2K19, and oh my god, the user interface is still bad. Like, why? And we're given a bonus match after this if we win. And guess who's back after beaten like a jabroni? That's right, it's Sting! Sorry, things back to avenge his loss and maybe his WWE run as well. But he failed again as he took 2 SIGs and 2 stunners, and I beat Sting again to become WWE champion. You know, I guess the WWE was right in the end about WCW sucking. Oh yeah, the bonus match was a title for title match as WWF champion Stone Cold goes against the Universal champion Brock Lesnar. And I won again and became the undisputed WWE Universal champion. Like, imagine Stone Cold doing the Roman pose with Heyman. Yeah, that sounds actually pretty cool, not gonna lie. Well, it's time to ruin the vibes because we gotta play WWE 2K20, the Rikishi stinkface of wrestling games. The Wheel of Fate gives us a freebie, and because I barely play this game at all, the default champions are the ones that we use, and we're going after WWE Champion Kofi Kingston, who at this point got squashed by Lesnar in less than 10 seconds, but you know what? Who cares about that? The two of us trade finishes between one another, but in the end, I flip the bird, get the stunner in, and win. Sorry, Kofi, it's kind of worse than your performance against Lesnar. Oh yeah, and then after the match, Randy Orton runs in, but I bury him with a belt shot and a stunner. And we never see Randy Orton again, which is kind of humorous, not gonna lie. Well, 2K21 doesn't exist, so we move on to 2K22. And we're going after the Winged Eagle belt against one of Steve's best rivals, Bret Hart. We also get to play a bonus game, which should be interesting. And after a dive from Bret, I decided to play around with the highlight reel and I got this cursed image. Yikes. Fortunately, we beat Bret after a Luthez, and that's pretty much it for 2K22, and this image can, you know, go away, please. In our bonus game, we leave the world of WWE2K and head into Wrestling Empire. Oh god. I decided to play as Stone Cold in a Battle Royal Time Bomb match. It went as well as you'd expect. Goku wins, but you know what? That doesn't work for me. What? So I'm gonna play another match as Stone Cold in a Subway Death Match. How'd that go? Well, in a fight with a hodgepodge of characters from all walks of life, no one leaves unscathed, and everybody basically suffers horrific injuries in this match, and blood is everywhere. Except me, of course. I got out fine, but all these other people? Nah. Well, I won, but I'm not finished yet. There's still one more sorry sack of shit that needs to be dealt with. The dastardly, evil John Cena. And for the sin of ruining wrestling, I sentence him to a time of eating a can of whoop ass. And for 6 minutes, John Cena gets what he deserves. And we injure Ronda Rousey, because why not? So we beat John Cena and pulverize him into a pulp. And become WWE Champion. Yay! With this challenge starting to come to a close with 2K23, I want to tie up any loose ends. I beat Bret, I beat Cena twice. Is there anyone else? Well, maybe. We are also getting another bonus game after this if we win. And we're going after the WWE title against another rival that we've had problems with. Brock Lesnar, who wants a real match after losing in Here Comes the Pain and getting jobbed out in 2K18. Well, how'd it go? Well, I got a Luthez and stunner in, but Lesnar kicked out. Brock then comes back, does his comeback maneuver, and then a series of power bombs. He calls for the F5, but it gets blocked into a stunner, and the two of us are having an old school shootout. But in the end, I end up getting the shootout win with a Luthez, one middle finger, and a stunner, and pin him for the 3. And we did it. We beat Brock Lesnar definitively. Alright, so what's the bonus game? Well, we're going to something a bit different. Fire Pro Wrestling World. Now, I'm going to break the challenge rules a bit. As this is a bonus match, I apply the rules pretty loosely, but for this game, I am not going to play it, because if I did, I'd be stuck here forever, because these games control way differently than any WWE game. So instead, I put Stone Cold Steve Austin against his arch rival, and no, it's not The Rock. It's someone much more evil and egomaniacal, if that's even possible. It's Vince McMahon. And unbeknownst to me, these two would fight for 35 minutes. A 35-minute war for the ages to settle this once and for all. And in the end, Vince will get caught in a sleeper and pass out. Stone Cold actually beat Vince and has vanquished him back into the Shadow Realm where he belongs. Now that we're out of Fire Pro, we go into 2K24, and the challenge we get is no strikes. This isn't as bad as, say, No Mercy, but it goes against Stone Cold's character, and that's kind of a crime in itself. But descending from the heavens, Shawn Michaels is back out of retirement in his prime for one more match against Stone Cold. With no strikes, Shawn Michaels is able to muster up a fight unlike any other. But one saving grace for me is that his corner finisher was always triggered, but he couldn't do it because I kept getting up. He isn't able to try until the very end of the match, where he goes for the kick, I dodge it, and he goes for it again, but I get the stunner in first and I win the match, which feels eerily similar to what happened at WrestleMania 14. Well, here we are, after 27 games, we're finally at the end. WWE 2K25, and for this match, we get to lower the difficulty by 1 to hard. And I decide that there's only one way to end this challenge. It's by going against the one guy that's been a pain in my ass in this whole entire video. None other than The Rock, the final boss, the true man that is ruining television, for both of our gimmick titles. And I finally get to pulverize him and easily beat this clown. One stunner and I beat him clean. No time limits or any other chicanery. So there we go. I did it. I won a title in every WWE game as Stone Cold. Mostly. I had fun and I hoped you enjoyed, as this took a long time to make and record. And, well, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.